Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday morning show where ASI's most outspoken editors talk promo products. I'm Andy Cohen, editor of Counselor Magazine, and we have a great show planned for you today. Isn't that right, one, Kathy Houston?
You bet.
Not
Andy.
you betcha.
I didn't want to
Just
go there.
you
Oh, yeah.
bet.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thank you, Andy. I'm thankful
How you
for
feeling?
you. I'm
You're
thankful
thankful
for
for
you
me?
this week of Thanksgiving.
Are you looking forward to Thanksgiving?
I am, because I don't have to cook. My sister is.
Do you enjoy the turkey?
I love it.
You love it.
I gobble it up. Get it?
Ba-dum-bum.
Is your mother-in-law going to be there, Rose?
No,
Rosie?
no, she'll be at my house on Christmas though.
That's another story for, I guess, another day. Michelle Bell, how are you today?
I'm good, Andy. Thank you.
Are you looking forward to Thanksgiving?
I am.
Are you looking forward to the snow I hear is coming to this area?
Oh, it's like 1 inch, big deal.
Is that what it is?
No,
Yeah.
no, I think it's more than that.
Nah.
Not up my way.
Really?
Yeah, 6 to 8, I heard.
Oh, see.
Well, you're off anyway.
Yeah.
That's good.
And with his 6 to 8 inches of snow is Chris Ruvo. How are you, Chris?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm hoping it doesn't snow too much. I was supposed to run in a race Thanksgiving.
Run
morning.
in
Really?
a race.
Yeah.
Really?
We do.
Where did this come from?
My one brother and I do it every year,
Yeah.
and we haven't done it in a few years.
Is it called the turkey trot?
It is. a
I'm
turkey
guessing
trot.
it is. I knew that one.
No, we were supposed to have this big sentimental moment because he was in the army and he's now back from
Oh.
Afghanistan. It's the first time we were going to get to do it in a while, but so we have our
Aw.
fingers crossed that we could do it.
How
Can
long
you-
is it? How
It's
far?
it's a 5K. It's a.
Do
it's
you
a simple
run?
run? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've been.
What my,
wow.
my svelte physique doesn't communicate this.
This is all coming as news to us
Yeah.
that there's actually running in your past
There is, yeah.
and present.
Well, I played soccer, so I don't want to get too big a gut, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we hear you have other issues that you're dealing with. So,
Yeah, other issues. Many.
well, Chris Ruvo, welcome to the show. We hope that you can get that turkey trot run in. Report back to us next week.
Well, thank you, Andy. Thank you.
All right. All right, we're getting ready to take your calls today regarding how to ramp up Q1 sales. So we are knee-deep in the fourth quarter selling season, but if you are already planning some strategies for the beginning of the year and trying to get your 2015 off to a quick start, give us a ring at 215-953-4979, and Michelle, Kathy, and Chris are here to answer all of your questions. Isn't that right, Michelle?
But mostly Andy.
But mostly Andy.
All right, Michelle, tell us what is on tap for today's show.
First of all, did anyone not get my little play on words with my subject line? Winter is coming. Anybody? Anybody?
What?
Game of Thrones.
Oh,
I was going to
I
say,
don't-
Game of Thrones
I don't
slogan.
I
watch
don't
that.
get it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I don't
so
get it either.
It's the Game of Thrones
Game
slogan.
of Thrones
Yes,
reference.
winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
Yeah, it means bad things are coming.
well,
bad
Oh.
winter is bad and snow is bad. And okay.
No, some people like it.
Ugh, I
So
hate
coming
those
up on our roster today, we have, you know what, we're going to talk about Uber. I have some things to say about Uber,
Let's
as does
save it.
Andy. Yeah. Kathy's going to talk about super talents of superstar salespeople. Chris is going to talk about Howard
not
Schultz,
talking
who
about
is the
anything.
CEO and founder of Starbucks, and his business lessons for, I think, that are particularly applicable to small business owners.
I like that guy.
Me
He's
too.
got good ideas.
Yeah. Kathy's going to talk about how to handle customer complaints without compromising your values. I'm going to discuss 5 unique ways to give thanks for your employees. Chris is going to talk about marketing tactics that stand the test of time. And, of course, we'll do our favorite things. But first, we have Andy with the news.
All right, thank you, Michelle. We begin this morning with product safety news. Supplier firm AP Specialties, in conjunction with the Consumer Product Safety Commission, recalled a mobile charger last week. There were about 172,000 of the power banks distributed at trade shows and conventions between November 2013 and August of this year. On to product news now. The European Union is set to pass a measure that would severely limit the use of plastic bags at retail stores throughout Europe. Under the measure, EU member countries would be able to opt for mandatory pricing of bags by 2019 or accept binding targets to reduce the number of plastic bags used per person. Taxes on bags used could also be instituted. Check out Promogram today for details. Top 40 supplier news now. Polyconcept North America has announced some management restructuring. The supplier has named Sharon Willichel as president and Derek Milne as CEO of PCNA's apparel division. Jeff Brown has been named the president of PCNA's hard goods division, and Bob Herzog has been named chief operating officer for PCNA. Top 40 distributor news now. Staples Inc. reported last week that its revenues decreased by 2.5% in its most recent quarter. A bright spot, though, was its promotional products division, the largest distributor in the industry, which grew its sales by double digits in the quarter. And finally, make sure to check check out the latest episode of The Joe Show and Promogram today. Joe is actually on vacation this week, but he has left us with a brand spanking new edition of The Joe Show, so make sure to check that out
Vinny puts his face
in
on
Promogram today. We don't have Joe here with us, but we do have his puppet head.
Yeah.
Well, we have another guy with curly hair. Not you, Andy.
That's definitely not me. Nothing up top in many ways. All right.
Hey, you said it.
Yeah, I did. All right, we're going to head to the phones now to take your calls regarding how to ramp up Q1 sales. If you have any questions about how to do that, give us a ring at 215-953-4979. We have a few callers on the line already. Let's go to line 1 where we have Laura. Laura, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. What is your question for the hosts?
Well, I usually, in general, I have a pretty good fourth quarter. My holiday sales are always off the charts, and, it's the same thing this year. But, in previous years, my first quarter has kind of always started off pretty slow. So I was just wondering if you guys have any tips to help me turn that around.
Okay, salespeople in the room. We've got Kathy and Chris working on our Advantages magazine. So what would you folks say?
I would say to start January with appointments with your clients and plan their whole year promotions. Yeah.
Very good.
Go-
In other words, ask them what their upcoming
What their plan,
events
right?
are.
Exactly, and get started on
Get their
those.
marketing calendar mapped out.
Definitely.
Okay, that's a good idea,
And
Chris.
that I just to dovetail off that, and that could actually lead to, higher revenue and higher profit orders, because you might be able to do some cooler solutions for things that are further down the line because you have more time. Another thing I would say is I would start this month looking within a niche that you currently operate in, or even just in your local area at some major players that you are not currently working with, and do some research on them and use time now to try to set up some I guess appointments in the first quarter to where you can start trying to bring a new client or two on. Then just have those meetings, and because they might have a little bit more time in the first quarter to talk to you about these things, and even if you get just one or two new clients from that, if they're quality client, it could really start your year out right.
Right. All right. Good ideas. Laura, I would also add that while the fourth quarter is busy for most distributors, it sounds like it is for yourself as well. The last 2 weeks of December tend not to be. I don't know if that's the case for you, but if that is, I would say use that time to, like Chris and Kathy were both saying, to connect with clients and to try to plan out their promotions. That's a great time to reach out and just say thanks for your business and also wish them a good holiday season, and then try to ask any questions you can about any upcoming promotions they have.
We're big fans of partying, obviously, at
We are,
Advantages too.
yes.
So, like, if you can get a few of your key clients together for a little soiree that you host,
Great idea.
Soiree.
Awesome. Yeah, make it a soiree,
Okay.
especially. All right, because give it a little class.
There you go. Class it up. All right, Laura, hopefully that helps, and good luck to you, and happy Thanksgiving. All right, on line 2, we have Elliot. Elliot, how are you today?
I'm fine. How is everybody over there?
We're doing great. We're waiting for snow. So what is your question for the hosts?
Well, listen, as an individual, I've pretty much given up on New Year's resolutions because they're just heartbreaking. But as a small business owner, I would like to implement some reasonable New Year's resolutions, maybe in the to help me gather up some more business, or to get better organized, to stay on top of the business I have, or get ahead of ideas. So do you have any suggestions for me?
More self-promotion.
Oh, the queen of self-promotion has spoken.
No one does enough self-promotion. Everybody should commit in the new year to doing one piece of self-promotion, manageable, small, 20 pieces per quarter. And the other thing I would say is, and the Advantages people can chime in, is I think prospecting is something that's overlooked.
Yeah.
People rely on their current client list so much.
Right.
And when things are really good, especially, they're like, we're doing great and, we've got tons of sales. But I think it's always important to kind of lay the seeds for more business, especially when times are lean.
Definitely.
And I would add to that that yes, prospect for new clients, but also prospect within the clients that you currently have. Like, so many reps are not saturating, so to speak, the opportunities that they have with a client. So say like you work with a medical center and maybe you're working with the HR or marketing department there. Well, you can ask them for referrals to other departments. You can, if you're only selling, say, like hard goods to a client, maybe there's an opportunity with apparel there. So kind of to try to maximize those clients. That's a good resolution for the new year.
You know, not for anything, just to go back to the self-promotion thing. I talk to suppliers all the time as the editor of SGR, and so many of them don't understand why suppliers don't come to them to partner for self-promotion. Because
Distributors, you mean?
Yeah, distributors, because they're like, we'll give them the product away practically for nothing because it benefits them as well, because that's more buyers and users that get to see their products too.
Yeah.
So distributors should really reach out to their suppliers. I mean, the specials that they'll give them if it's a self-promotion campaign are amazing.
And you have a lot of opportunities at the beginning of the year
For
through
sure.
all the trade shows that are going on, you know, to talk to suppliers about that, see what kind of self-promotion promotions they're actually running, and you can get some pretty good deals. All right, Elliot, thanks for the call, and thanks for the question. Okay, on line 4, we have Stanley. Stanley, how are you today?
Hey, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving week.
To
You
you
too.
as well. Now, I'm guessing you are not expecting snow like we are here in the Northeast.
Well, as I told Vinny, I contacted ASI Art Services, and I have photoshopped out the snow in your area. So
Well, thank you
if
for
it
that.
works,
Let's hope
you know,
that
we'll
works.
probably not-
I like the
Yeah.
idea. All right, Stanley, what is your comment or question for today?
Well, my question is, you know, with as we get through this quarter, one of the things I do is, you know, I contact the people, especially if they haven't bought, and I try to kind of start like what you were just saying. I just wrote down that you know, scheduling appointments to clients to schedule out their year. But when it comes to taking advantage of the trade shows in January, do you think it's a great idea or a good idea or effective idea to bring back samples specific to clients, or do you think it's just as effective to post pictures of cool products, like sometimes in the new pavilion, to Instagram or Facebook, or does the Facebook and Instagram really does it not pack the punch to help boost appointments and sales in the first quarter? What do you think?
Well, I would say that all of the above is important. I think that you should, especially at shows, be using social media to be pushing out pictures of products and ideas for ways that those products can be used in promotions. I think that's just a good touch point for any of the customers that follow you through those social outlets. So that's one. I would certainly do that, and it's so easy to do that it's not like it's taking up too much of your time at a trade show. But I do think your first point, which is probably more important, is that I think too many distributors really show up at a trade show without a plan and without an idea of the types of products that they're looking for, the types of clients that they're trying to do new promotions for. That's key. Go to those shows with an idea as to what you're trying to plan out for the next 6 months, or for the next quarter, however long it might be till you get to another show or something like that. But know what you're looking for and have clients in mind. I would suggest having specific clients in mind that like Kathy was talking about earlier. You know what their upcoming events are, and you could talk to suppliers specifically about trying to come up with a creative idea for those upcoming events. That's how you get, I think, the most out of a trade show.
Yeah, for sure. Because what do we talk about all the time? That how do you compete with strictly online sellers? How do you keep the competition at bay in a commodity industry? Well, it's relationships, right? So what better helps build a relationship than saying, hey, I went somewhere, you were on my mind, this is what I brought back for you because I think it will work for you because of this reason. Here's an image of it in an email, or even better, here I've mailed it to you, and here's a little note that I wrote saying I think this would work for you. Why? And I think that you stand to both build the relationship and more of a shot of getting a sale. That said, though, I agree that you put it up on social media too, of course, but that's a nice augmentation of what should be the primary focus, which should be getting products with particular clients in mind.
Absolutely. Or even like Chris said, send them an email with a picture of the product and tell them you'd like to set up a meeting so you can show them the actual sample, when you get back.
Good ideas. Hopefully that helps. Stanley, will we see you at the ASI Long Beach show again?
Absolutely, you will.
All right. We look forward to seeing you there. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, Stanley. Have a good one. Michelle, I understand we had some comments on our Facebook page regarding this topic about ramping up Q1 sales. What were those?
We do. We have one from, actually it's a question from David Garthwaite. He says, it was reported that consumers are now spending more time on their smartphones than television. As a promotional products supplier and distributor, what's the best way to use smartphone technology? Andy? Chris?
Well, I think
I noticed you didn't ask me.
I don't know exactly what study he's referring to, but yes, consumers certainly spend a tremendous amount of time on mobile phones. So, and that's not just consumers in the retail world, but also B2B buyers. They are on their mobile phones more than they're even on their desktops. So you need to be where you can reach them. And so I would just suggest that if distributors don't have mobile-friendly websites, then you're doing your business a disservice today. If you try to go to a website on your iPhone or any smartphone that isn't mobile optimized, you immediately just move away from that site because it's annoying to look at. You can't really navigate it well. It's just not a friendly experience.
It's almost
you're
to
not
the
gonna do
point
it.
where that should be self-evident. I think,
Right.
like where it's not even like a tip anymore. It's just
Right.
like that's just
but
what it should
unfortunately,
be.
I think that there are a lot of companies that don't have mobile-friendly sites, and that's something that you're losing potential customers by not having a mobile-friendly website. So that if we're talking about things that people should make sure they do in 2015, that's probably job one. Make sure that your site is mobile-friendly. There are services that can easily do that for you.
Great. And Eric Campbell, I'm going to ask Chris this question because he used to be the senior editor of Stitches.
Writer,
Is it?
whatever.
Eric Campbell asks, in the decorated apparel industry, we see a pretty huge slowdown in January. What sort of tips do you have for prep marketing to fill that gap? With everyone's mind on the holidays, what can we do to get their mind on ramping up into the next year?
Oof. Geez, it is a traditionally slow time. I know in talking to a couple of shops, what they actually will do is they will use the early part of the month, not like say the first 2 weeks of January, to kind of streamline their operational flow, believe it or not, so that when things do start to pick up, they can be more efficient than before, which allows them to obviously process more orders and do them faster. So that can be a good strategic use of time. I know it's not a direct marketing thing, but it is something they could later, I guess, market and saying, hey, we can crank out this much an hour, faster production times. I would go back to some of the tips that we offered before, though, for sales reps, because it's similar where you want to try to connect with what I would call your sturdy, kind of strongest clients and map out as much as you can for the year. And then also look for new opportunities.
I like it. Any more?
No, but this was just announced. What do we think of this marketing strategy? It's blowing up the Twitter feed. Do you hear that?
I believe that's Twitterverse.
Whatever. So BlackBerry, heads bowed in reverence.
Oh no! Did they go out of
BlackBerry-
business?
Shut up.
I didn't
BlackBerry.
even know they still are around.
Wait for it though. BlackBerry just announced that it will pay $600 to any consumer willing to switch from an iPhone to their new BlackBerry, which will be released any
No,
day.
thank you.
They will pay $600.
$600.
They're going to
What do we
give
think about
people
that strategy?
$600.
I
Well,
say
well-
it's
money.
desperate and dateless.
I'm sorry, dateless?
Yeah, desperate and
Thank
dateless.
God Joe Haley's not here because that would have been thrown right at me.
Here's $20. Tell me I'm pretty.
Yeah, right?
It is though a common strategy in the tech world, like the cell services. They'll pay you to switch your contract. you
That's
know,
a- that's
and
a
they'll pay your
big
get out of the thing.
Bill though,
$600.
That's a big
$600.
chunk of change.
Yeah. So
That is-
BlackBerry has announced for the first time in quite a while. They're announcing they have this new phone. It's called the BlackBerry Passport. It's bigger than the one I have. It's more square, but it has the keyboard that people who love BlackBerry, they love the keyboard. But that's something, $600. But I tend to
It's a
agree
lot
with
of money.
Kathy, actually. I think it smacks of being a little pitiful.
Yeah, like desperate move.
Yeah.
Does it? Do you get locked into a long contract?
It doesn't say that, but I'm
Yeah.
sure you have to sign up for a
Yeah.
contract.
No, you probably don't. That's hardware. Like you're not on a BlackBerry software service.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
good
I
point.
think they're giving it up.
$600, thanks.
There we go. You can buy Christmas on BlackBerry.
Where's my phone? Thanks.
All right. We're going to take a break right now to hear from our show sponsor, ASI Education. But when we get back, Michelle will go off. So make sure to listen up.
I hate you, Uber.
At ASI, we know that education is the key to success, so we're excited to announce our newly reimagined online learning center. Log in and test the all-new intuitive interface. Share photos, stories, and communicate with other ASI members who are learning along with you. Expand your knowledge with wikis, discussion boards, and more than 350 courses which include valuable marketing and sales information. And for your convenience, the Online Learning Center now uses a single sign-on access like your other ASI services. Best of all, it's free. Become an industry expert and see what's new on the ASI Online Learning Center at www.asicentral.com/online-learning.
All right, welcome back to the Tuesday morning show. Before we let Michelle go ballistic on a consumer company, we're going to name our caller or writer-in of the week, and that is Eric Campbell, who supplied us with the question that was about how to get business in the decorated apparel industry in the beginning of the year. So, Eric, congratulations. You'll be receiving our ASI Radio prize pack for this week. Make sure to look at that when it comes in the mail, and post pictures with the new stuff that we sent you. All right, Michelle, Uber. We've got issues with the taxi service. Is that what you can call it?
It's Uber annoying.
Car service.
The car service at your service.
Uber
Now,
annoying.
you've got issues.
I've got
What are
issues
they?
because I like the concept of it. And they just couldn't get out of their own way and not screw up. They had such a bad PR 2 weeks. It's unbelievable. It's like they're the gang that can't shoot straight over there, because I do like the concept. I think it's smart because
So
you
what
know
did they
me.
do
No one
wrong?
is lazier or more sloth-like than me. Like when I want a car service,
That's
I
true.
want a car service.
And Michelle's
I
willing
want
to
hit a
pay.
button. I'm
Yeah.
willing to pay. I am that person.
Yeah.
I will pay above and beyond, but I want it when I want it. That's not their problem. It's not their business model, although they are being sued and picketed by taxi services in major cities throughout the U.S., L.A. being one of them, and Atlanta, because the taxi services in those big cities think that Uber and their competitors like Lyft are unfair because they aren't held to the same standards. They don't have to be like licensed cab drivers. They don't have to pay that huge fee to have
To get the medallion.
the medallion,
Yeah.
right? All that aside, they're being charged with. I mean, they have this reputation for being extremely heavy-handed, where they'll do these little sabotaging techniques with Lyft, where they'll book all the Lyft riders in the area and then cancel their rides
Oh.
to try to dominate that marketplace.
Interesting.
So they are a little.
Wow.
They have this kind of gangster, reputation. That's not even my issue.
Uh-oh.
My issue is this thing that has come out in the past month, where any reporter, specifically reporters for Pando Daily and Recode, who's criticizing their business model, they're going after them by digging up dirt on them.
Right.
And they're publishing it, and they're getting it out there. And it's like they're targeting these journalists because the journalists deign to criticize Uber. And, Travis, Kalinchik, whatever.
Whatever.
Because they're taking apart their business model, and they're saying, look, Uber has these really good points. They're getting all sorts of funding, they're getting all sorts of venture capital interest, but they have business challenges, and
Right.
Uber's not taking kindly to that at all. Interestingly, or not, one of the investors in Uber is Ashton Kutcher, and let me just say something
here we
about
go.
that. His big claim to fame is that he impregnated Mila Kunis, and that he played Kelso the pot-smoking idiot on that 70s show. This is who we're hanging our hat on this week.
And he was married to Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Oh, well, another claim
There
to
was
fame.
that, yeah.
Okay, so he is an investor in Uber. So he has tweeted yesterday that why shouldn't journalists be targeted if they're criticizing Uber?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, here's why. There's so many reasons, but I would say that the main one for any business is to focus on your own business. You're getting out of your comfort zone when you're spending your time or having your employees spend their time investigating journalists. It's just you're not going to win that battle. You're not. There's no way. So the fact that you're not going to win that battle means you're spending your time on the wrong thing.
well,
pretty
and
ridiculous.
Do your business.
we talk about all the time how companies need to get out in front of PR disasters. They've done a particularly bad job of this. The other thing that they do, which has come out in light of all this, is they have privacy issues in that they are able to track. Let's just say Kathy and I are at a trade show and we're in an Uber car. If they wanted
Right.
to, they could track us and know where we're going. And some people have issues with that. I would have issues with that. So they gave an example of a reporter who was coming to the Uber offices, and the CEO came out to greet her, and she was like, "How did you know I was here?" He's like, "Oh, I had you tracked." Well, she never consented to that. So yet another issue. I'm just saying they have a lot of
Do you need
issues.
to consent to that, though?
I mean,
I mean, you're in their product.
Yeah.
You're in their
taxi
car.
services, everybody knows.
I
very
would
well.
find
I
that
don't know.
profoundly uncomfortable to know that I was being tracked.
You're being tracked all the time,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not.
I don't want Uber tracking me. That's not their right to do that. It's not in the, I didn't give them that okay.
Well, but that's
they
what
have to know where
that's
you're
what companies
going. You know,
do. That's what online
They're
companies
doing
do
it though
today.
to collect data on you. You know
Yes.
where you're
That's
traveling.
what they're doing, so that they could market to you.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But that's what everybody does online and through mobile.
I think that there's some things where you have to opt into that.
I don't think that that's one of those things.
Well, regardless, all of this is coming to a head, and they're not doing a great job getting
Right.
out in front
Right.
of it.
Right, I
Bottom
agree,
line.
and they're not focusing enough on their own business.
Right.
Like I said, do what you do really well, which obviously they've created a great name for themselves, and people swear by their service. So continue to do that, and don't focus your time on
just
investigating
jumping. I
journalists.
know you've been on it a bit, but like going to war against journalists, bad idea.
You won't win.
Because there's always going to be more of them,
Right.
and like all you have to do is get like one. So what happens now? Maybe I'm just a regular citizen and I'm not working in journalism at all, but I post a blog post that I hate Uber. Now you're going to go after that
Right,
person
right.
too.
Right.
So like now you're attacking people who are your customers. It sends you down a slippery slope where you're going to just be seen as a word that
Yeah.
ends with two S's, and
Uber's own privacy policy, incidentally, prohibits accessing user data by anyone in the company. So there's that.
And I'm sure that
I'm not even sure what that means.
They're not allowed to do it, and yet they have been caught doing it.
Right. All right, there you go. So Uber, bad Uber,
No,
bad
I'm
Uber.
not, but I'm not willing to say bad because I like
Oh,
the
yes, you
business
did.
model. I just don't like the way they're conducting themselves right now.
Right.
But do
you
I
said,
like having a car service readily available
Yeah,
to me? Yes, I
don't
do.
be so darn paranoid about what people say about you.
like they're going all
Provide good
Sopranos on
service.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
totally.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Kathy. So Uber doesn't do great at these kind of
No.
things, but some superstar salespeople really do great for their customers. So what do they do that is so wonderful?
Well, these are the skills they have,
All right.
according to Inc. magazine. X-ray vision. Not literally. A
They-
top
Dude, I mean, if they have that,
how I wanted that in high school.
that's awesome.
A top salesperson can see through the mountains of BS that emerges during price negotiations. Makes sense.
Okay. How about
Um,
that?
Gadget mastery. A top salesperson can use a phone, a tablet, notebook, computer, and every variety of coffee machine in the world at the same time. Soothsaying. Top salesperson can accurately predict which customers will buy and when they'll buy. Well, they hope so. Super hearing. And we always write about this in Advantages. We even have quizzes
Super
about it.
hearing.
Listening.
That's number one.
Listening. Super hearing. Top salesperson listens so closely to what customers say so that they always feel as if they've been heard. Let's see.
And if they don't, they fake it real well.
They do, but they're not supposed to fake it as we advise them.
Right.
Mind reading. This is similar to the other ones. Top salesperson knows what a customer is thinking even before the customer thinks it.
Oh.
So you know their
They
buying
really
habits,
do
you know
have
their
ESP.
likes, their dislikes. Yeah, and it all comes from
Ba-dum-bum.
mainly listening, as we've said.
Right.
So
Asking
there you go.
questions and listening. All right, Chris, we teased this in the opener, so I want to
Yeah,
get to it.
I'll do it real fast.
Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, he has a lot of good business lessons. What are a few of those?
All right, here's some of his top ones. Have a mission. When you have a mission, it gives you focus and purpose, and that increases your chance of success. Another thing is related to what we just talked about with listening, and that's ask your customers questions. When you know what your customers are looking for, you can obviously provide better solutions.
You know what? I don't think people do that nearly enough. It's in person when you're talking to somebody. You know, if you're a salesperson or a business owner and you are talking to a client, ask those questions. But also in surveys, get some data. You know, get some data on what clients want, and you can break it down and start to act on it.
Yeah, I think that's particularly applicable for our industry because reps aren't out selling one or two products. There's
Right.
thousands of products they can choose, so it's
Right.
about finding the right one. Know your employees and give them opportunities to contribute ideas. That came in handy, for instance, with Starbucks, where they had line employee, somebody just working the counter at Starbucks. She came up with the signature Frappuccino drink, and so give them vehicles by which they can share their ideas. Another thing, and I won't go too into this, is just be innovative, and that's you want to stick with what works, of course, but you don't want to be afraid to branch out and try new things because there's major opportunities for growth if you hit on a good one. Another thing is when you mess up, take responsibility. We all know
Yes.
that. We should be. No one wants to hear, oh, well, it's this guy's fault or that guy's fault. Take responsibility and make it right to the
Hear
degree
that, Uber?
to the degree that you can.
All right, give us one more.
All right, embrace social media. Having a presence on social media is obviously vital to build your business, but the most important thing to do here is to be strategic about it, is to find the platform or platforms that are best for your brand and then maximize them.
All right, Chris, we'll post the rest of those tips to our website at asicentral.com/radio. Now we have just enough time for our favorite things. I will lead off. Thanksgiving is a huge football day as well, so this is a football cutting board, and a football-shaped cutting board, and it comes from supplier Zipline, which is ASI 99030. You can check a picture of it out on asicentral.com/radio. Now, Michelle, you go.
Mine is from Minya, which is minyausa.com. This is so cute. It's a clock with a fork and spoon.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Dial, whatever the thing is.
For your kitchen.
For your kitchen. Yeah, it's
restaurant.
adorable. So it'd be great for culinary schools and foodies.
Very cool. All right, Kathy.
All right, well,
you get the last word.
We always say that food gifts are great, but you should include a keepsake with them. And Gifted Expressions, ASI 56777, is really great at offering those keepsakes. And I love the adorable moose shaped. It's like a moose stuffed animal, but it's stuffed with cookies and good, delicious treats. Yeah.
Very
delicious
clever.
treats.
All right. Check that out and more on our website at asicentral.com/radio. Unfortunately, we are out of time for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks to our show sponsor, ASI Education. Have a great week, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Go
Thanksgiving.
Eagles! Go Eagles!